Hi everyone and welcome along. Today we're going to paint some Easter cards and today we're going to focus on eggs. Whether they're chocolate or baby birds hatching out, they're pretty cool and perfect for Easter. So grab your paints and let's get started. Right then, we are going to do a card. So I've got a pre-scored piece of watercolour paper that just folds under there. The card itself is 5 by 7 inches, which is a standard envelope size, so that's really good if you're doing homemade cards to keep them a size that fits into an envelope nicely. What I've done is it's barely visible, and the whole point of that is so that it's just a nice little guide for me, but I've done a little grid of 3 lines versus 3 lines across, 3 inches by 4 inches, and I'm going to use that as my invisible grid to paint some lovely little egg shapes. So I've got some colours woken up in my palette. I'm going to begin with yellow ochre. I've got a size 4 brush, and in fact I don't need my pencil and set square anymore. And in the grid square I am going to paint a little egg shape, and I'm going to paint it so it sits sort of roughly inside the square. It doesn't need to be perfectly in there. And then I'm going to just wet my brush and fill it in. And what's happening, even though we're using quite a dilute amount of colour even on the outline of the egg, just by cleaning off your brush and wetting the middle gives you just a slightly deeper colour around the edge. This time I'm going to paint an egg using permanent rose combined with yellow ochre, because I do love that kind of funny blush colour we get. So you'll soon see that I'm painting eggs that aren't all completely realistic colours, and I want to paint them slightly different sizes as well. You might want to go down a size with your brush, but you don't want to go too small, because you want to be able to fill that shape in with as few brush strokes as possible. Now you might want a size 2, probably would be good, a good all-rounder. If you wanted, you could drop in just a little bit of stronger colour in places, just for a little bit of interest. And you can see that the egg is still really nice and wet due to using a really translucent colour. Down here I've got Hooker's green. It's got a few little speckles in it, but I'm just ironically trying to get rid of. I'm going to mix that with a little bit of yellow ochre as well, actually, because yellow ochre is going to be a really nice sort of through line colour for this. So this time, yeah, the size 2 is really nice. I'm holding my brush quite vertically here and it is working nicely, but I just need to make sure I work quickly to fill in that colour. So I'm going to fill in the rest of my grid with eggs of different sizes, different colours, and then we can add some speckles. So I'm just painting in this Prussian Blue egg at the bottom here, and on this one I'm just adding in a few dots of colour whilst it's still wet, just to add to the texture a little bit. So we've got our lovely eggs now, and you can see, because we painted in a translucent style, we've got these beautiful crisp edges and translucent middles that are really helping us sort of picture a nice rounded egg. And now we're going to paint in a few speckles. Now if I was sort of painting splatters and speckles, I'd sort of flick the brush, but I want to make sure that these speckles are really nice and focused in on the egg and not sort of all over the shop. So I'm going to use a very small brush instead, and I am going to begin quite dilute. So I think we all just assume you'd go straight in with a really strong speckle colour, but actually going in just a little bit pale and then building it up is quite a good way to begin. And in using a little brush, it means that you can get the really tiny weeny speckles as well as the slightly larger ones, which is what makes, just capturing a nice bit of shadow, nice bit of shadow, and having the range of speckle sizes is what really makes these eggs look a bit more realistic. And now I've got a slightly stronger colour. And I'm just building it up. So that's using a mixture of burnt sienna and Prussian Payne's grey, and just starting nice and dilute, and then building up the colour, and just doing little clusters, not dotting sort of evenly across the whole thing. So let's try another one, and you can sort of change your speckles, the colour of your speckles, according to your egg. I'm going to sort of get a bit more brown on this one here. So starting off a little lighter, clustering your speckles. Sometimes it's better to just sort of go for it quite fast like this and not overthink it. And if one of your speckles feels a bit dark, you can sort of come in with your brush and remove paint and move it about the egg. And then if you want something really nice and concentrated to finish it off with, well, that's great. So it's really up to you how far you want to take your speckles, but something to consider is you might also want to just do them around the base. So I've started quite strong with this one. And we're just speckling them in, and we'll leave it at that with that one. On the whole, what I'm doing is I'm using a more concentrated version of the colour that I painted in the first place. And then from that point, it's sort of my decision whether I add in an extra bit of shadowy colour or if I just leave it as that, because I quite like that just on its own. So down here, the Prussian Blue, I mean, you see a very subtle bit of colour there, but you don't see a huge amount. So I might just put a stronger bit in here. Just coming round from the side. There you have a lovely Easter card. So we just move that over. How gorgeous is that? Thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed that one. I want to say a huge thank you to my patrons for their support, because that support enables us to keep creating videos like these that everyone can enjoy. And if you enjoyed it, then hit the like button and comment below to let me know how you're getting on with it. And of course, if you never want to miss another video, hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell. Until next time, bye!